Hello members, international trade involves the exchange of capital, goods and services across international borders or territories. That is, the purchases, sales and exchange of goods and services across national borders. A country's balance of trade is defined by its net export, that is, export minus import. And this is thus influenced by all the patterns of international trade and marketing. Welcome to Opportunities Meeting Place, where transforming your business through knowledge is our core goal. In this video, we are going to look at 11 items to be considered by upcoming product-based businesses before venturing into international trade. 1. Geographical location. The geographical location of the trading country affects international trade. Factors that will play a role include the climate, tropical region, coastal lines, availability of infrastructure in that country including the transport system that will determine ease of transportation among others. A lack of infrastructure can increase the cost of getting goods to the market. This increases the price of those products and reduces our national global competitiveness, which in turn reduces exports. 2. Labor. Labor describes characteristics of a country's workforce. A country with skilled labor force can produce relatively more per person than the unskilled force, which in turn impacts the area in which each can find a comparative advantage. The country with skilled labor might design complex electronics, while the unskilled labor force might specialize in basic manufacturing. On the other hand, a country with abundant unskilled labor produces goods requiring relative low-cost labor, while a country abundant in natural resources is likely to export them. Wages paid to laborers also depend on whether it's skilled or unskilled workforce. 3. Availability of natural resources. Natural resources available in a country can be a plus for a company aspiring to become a player in international trade, including timber, oil, water sources, among others. Efficient use of natural resources means more value be extracted from it to boost trade. According to research, natural resources accounts for 20% of world trade and dominates the export of many countries. 4. Trade policies. Countries do impose restrictions on certain products due to various reasons. For example, to protect domestic producers from competition or for health and safety reasons. To do this, 3 main tools are used, that is, tariffs, subsidies, and quotas. A country's government can have a major effect on its balance of trade due to its policies on subsidizing exporters, restriction on imports, or lack of enforcement on piracy. Lack of restriction on piracy can affect international trade flow. On the other hand, barriers to trade also impact a country's balance of export and imports. Policies that restrict imports or subsidize export impact the relative prices of those goods, making it more or less attractive to import or export. For example, agricultural subsidies might reduce farming costs, encouraging more production for exports. Import quotas raises prices for imported goods, which reduces demand. 5. Products demand. Before any product upgrade for an upcoming base businesses aspiring to become a player in the international trade, the company needs to consider the product demand in the region it tends to venture in, since it's the demand that will determine the supply, hence a direct impact on the production of the commodity. Demand for particular product or services is an essential component of international trade. For example, the demand for oil impacts the prices and the trade balance of oil exporting and oil importing countries alike. If a small oil importer faces a failing oil price, its overall importing might fail. The oil exporter, on the other hand, might see its export fall. Depending on the relative importance of a particular goods for a country, such demand shift can have an impact on the overall balance of trade. 6. Trade balance. Investors and market professionals most likely will be concerned with the trade deficit than the trade itself. Balance in trade is therefore a key indicator of the country's health. If a country's government imposes a tax on imported goods, often referred to as tariff, the prices of foreign goods to consumers are effectively increased. 7. National income. National income is the total amount of income accruing to a country from economic activities in a year's time. It includes payment made to all resources in form of wages, rents, interest, and profits. If a country's income level, that is national income, increases by a higher percentage than those of other countries, its current account is expected to decrease. Other things being equal, as the real income level adjusted to inflation rises, so does consumption of goods. A percentage of that increase in consumption will most likely reflect an increased demand for foreign goods. 8. Inflation. As an entrepreneur, it is important to consider the inflation rate of a country you intend to venture in, as it will have a direct impact on your revenues. If a country's inflation rate increases relative to the countries with which it trades, its current account will be expected to decrease, other things being equal. Consumers and corporations in that countries will most likely purchase more goods overseas due to high local inflations, while the country's exports to other countries will decline. When inflation is running rampant in a country, the price to produce a unit of a product may be higher than the price in a lower inflation country. This will impact export, thus affecting the trade balance. 9. Exchange rates. The exchange rate in this case involves the domestic currency and foreign currency and can be quoted either directly or indirectly. A domestic currency that has appreciated significantly raises the cost of exported goods and can leave exporters priced out of global markets. This may pressure our national trade balance. 10. Foreign currency reserves. If a country's currency begins to rise in value, its current account balance will decrease as import increases and export decreases. When currency appreciates, export will be expensive for other countries and the demand for such product will decrease. To compete effectively in international market, a nation must have access to imported machinery that will enhance productivity, which may be difficult if forex reserves are inadequate. 11. Competition. Competition informs the pattern of international trade and marketing and plays a key role in guiding product upgrades for upcoming product-based businesses that are aspiring to become players in international trade. In the current environment, with the growing interdependency between the market and the increased competition, it is more difficult to maintain current enterprise market position. Competitiveness is a measure of the relevant ability of different countries to provide different products or services. Competitiveness takes into account the efficiency, cost of employment, level of government regulation, and the ease of doing business. Competitiveness affects international trade because the more competitive countries will tend to attain a higher level of global trade. That's it for today. We will be back again with another exciting video on entrepreneurship. Until then, subscribe, like, leave a comment. This is Opportunities Meeting Place. Goodbye.